Hi there, Ezekiel here. It's been a fun-filled week in Uncle Sam's backyard as our great leader, Donald the Dick-tator, decided to begin celebrations for his 79th birthday, starting off the week with a visit to a production of Les Miserables at the Lincoln Center in New York. Unsurprisingly, he was booed by the audience when he entered and was apparently upstaged by 4 drag queens who had turned up to watch the performance. This was followed by the eagerly awaited highlight of his birthday week, a military parade along Constitution Avenue in Washington, D.C. The brief was simple. It was to be a spectacular, threatening, and overwhelmingly awe-inspiring spectacle of power and military menace, whilst being family-friendly and educational, and in no way a threat to anyone who did not agree with Donald the Dick-tator's policies. The person tasked with the brief was the equally simple Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who was given an initial budget of 45 million American taxpayers' dollars to squander on the, to allocate to the project. There were some sponsors like Amazon, Coinbase, FedEx, Walmart, Coca-Cola, and Scott's Miracle-Gro. I'm not sure what the little dictator uses Scott's Miracle-Gro for, or even what Scott's Miracle-Gro is. Sadly, on the big day, no one seemed to want to party with the little dictator. In fact, millions of Americans had a prior engagement in over 2,000 towns and cities across the USA on the same day, at the No Kings Party. Donald the Dick-tator was not invited. Very few people actually turned up for his parade, and the crowd was so low rent I suspect they'd been attracted in by offers of free hot dogs or Coca-Cola or indeed Scott's Miracle-Gro. The military seemed a little pissed to be ordered to march for Donald's birthday party. There were some really embarrassing lowlights during the event. My particular favorite, apart from the squeaky tank wheels and the strange silence, was the guy carrying the drone over his head. Did no one tell him you can fly the damn thing? So embarrassing. The marching was at best apathetic and at worst out of step, which seemed like a metaphor for the whole event. Even Donald the Dick-tator looked bored. He almost nodded off at one point. I bet he was missing his usual party pal, Jeffrey Epstein. May the devil rest his soul for all eternity. I noticed that Donald the Dick-tator kept side-eyeing Keith Hegseth, who was sat quite close to him. Keith looked like a man who knew his next gig was with a guillotine. Fear not, Keith, your end will be swift and messy, and as inevitable as your next drink. The whole miserable charade was a little like watching Les Miserables, kind of long and really sad. Donald the Dick-tator dreamed a dream, and it quickly turned into a nightmare. The parade sounded like that song from Les Miserables. How does it go now? There's a grief that can't be spoken. There's a pain goes on and on. Squeaky tanks and empty bleachers. Now Epstein is dead and gone. You know the one. Needless to say, old Bone Spurs was not a happy birthday bunny. Once again, he was publicly snubbed by Melania. She rejected his little pinky. I don't blame her. Who knows where it's been? Is she really his wife? I rather suspect that's where most of the $45 million was spent. Her fee for turning up. It was all extremely underwhelming, a little weird, and dystopian. Talking of dystopian, On the other side of the world, in North Korea, their newscasters were having a ball reporting on the parade. Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un, great leader, unity people. Dapadono, be parade, my fast. Squeak, 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 squeak. Dapadono, he himself. Walking man, go tiny walking. Navania said, no, creep. You clap yourself. Get away, get away. Revolution, America. Bring it, bring it, bring it. Squeak, 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 squeak. Of course, after such a public humiliation in front of the whole world's media, Donald has plunged into another one of his sulky rages and ordered extra ice raids for everyone. Then made a note to self. Had a bad birthday, bomb Iran. Although he can't quite decide which bomb to use, so he's given everyone a 2-week window, which of course means it's imminent. You see, what Donald the dictator can't seem to grasp is that you're only the supreme leader as long as people believe it. And sadly for you, no one really believes it. Wake up, Donald. You're not the wizard you thought you were. You're the Tin Man, Donald. A heartless, rusty, old, empty shell of a human who shits himself and wears diapers. Poor old Donald the Dick. Can't quite decide if he's still Putin's poodle or Netanyahu's genocidal bitch. I think he's both. Will no one rid us of these turbulent kings? Oh my God. Breaking news. Donald the dictator has just bombed Iran. So today, he's Netanyahu's genocidal bitch. But that could all change tomorrow. What will not change, though, is America's karma, which just got a whole lot worse. You see, America, karma is a bitch. And like I keep saying, it's not individual, it's universal. Everyone pays karma. It's like death and taxes. And you all will pay with more deaths and more taxes. Where were we? Oh yeah. Do you feel better now, Donald? Has that killing fest made you feel justified, Donald? Has it made up for your disastrous birthday parade? Do you know what I think would be the cherry on your big psychotic birthday cake, Donald? Sacking Pete Hegseth. Go on, Donald. You know, and he knows you're gonna. But don't forget, the 2-week window